In 2010, Snoop Dogg was actively touring across the country and appeared on several radio shows. During one of these appearances, he sent a message to Bloods and Crips outside of California, saying that if you aren't from California and come there gangbanging, you should be careful because California gangs play by different rules and you might become a victim. While this seemed like something minor, this would upset the Crips in Oklahoma, with D-Loc from the Hoover Crips warning Snoop Dogg that he better check in with the Hoovers while in Thugtown. This video would be posted on World Star Hip Hop and go viral.
Come on, cuz, you know what it is, niggas. Hoover, nigga, and I'm from Oklahoma, nigga. 918, nigga, this how we get down. Now, I'm gonna tell you just like this, Snoop, nigga. You come down here tomorrow, you know what I mean? My goons is out here. My goons lurking, my nigga. And this ain't all it is, my nigga. My niggas is out here. So, homie, if you wanna pass, homie, holla at me. 918-798-1797, my nigga.
Snoop Dogg wouldn't respond to D-Loc, but he did have a concert in Tulsa in July, and during the show, a fight allegedly broke out. After this, D-Loc started getting a bunch of death threats following the drama with Snoop Dogg. The Crips from California were calling him, saying he had to apologize to Snoop or something bad would happen. But D-Loc lived for the attention, and he would tell anyone who called to come to Tulsa and visit the Hoovers. Even some OG Hoovers stepped to him, saying they supported him, but they grew up on Snoop Dogg and had a lot of respect for his cripping, so they wanted to stay out of it. But just 3 months later, on October 23rd, 2010, a man and a woman were sitting on a front porch in the 1800 block of North Harvard when a man walked up and opened fire. The woman was hit in the arm, but her injuries were not life-threatening, and the man was hit in the head and rushed to the hospital in critical condition. That man was later identified as Dominique Jasper, also known as D-Loc. Dominique Eugene Jasper, also known as D-Loc, was a well-known member of the Hoover Crips in Oklahoma. He was born on February 19, 1984, and grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Life wasn't easy for D-Loc when he was young. His father left the family when he was just a child, which left his mother to raise him and his brother Polo all by herself. Being a single mom was really hard on her. She had to take care of everything on her own, and the stress became too much. She would try and cope with the pressure and pain by smoking crack, but this made things even harder for D-Loc and his brother as they grew up. D-Loc grew up in the Comanche Park Apartments, a place known for being a hangout spot for Hoover gang members. Their main cliques were 36th, 37th, and 38th Street. And D-Loc was a member of the 38th Street clique, with the 36th Street clique being made up of people from the Gangster Disciples and Hoover Crips, and together they were called the Comanche Park Gangsters. But over time, the Comanche Park Apartments were torn down, so now there's only one generation left from that neighborhood. But he would start off in the streets at a young age. He was known for selling crack and getting into the hustle early on. People remember him as someone who stood at 6 feet tall and weighed 239 pounds. People in the neighborhood looked at him like a juggernaut, big, tough, and not someone you wanted problems with. As he got deeper into street life, rumors began to spread that he was also involved in pimping and shootouts with rivals across the city. D-Loc had built up a reputation fast, and people knew he was about his business. By the time D-Loc turned 21, things took a serious turn. He allegedly got into a violent situation with a neighborhood Crip, and it ended in a shooting. But not long after, D-Loc was arrested and charged with shooting with intent to kill. This was a major charge that could have ended everything for him. But on March 7, 2006, he was officially convicted. The judge sentenced him to 3 years in prison, and D-Loc began serving time on July 26, 2006. Even though he was sentenced to 3 years, D-Loc got out early for good behavior. He was released on July 4, 2008, after serving just under 2 years behind bars. But his freedom came with conditions. The court gave him a 10-year suspended sentence, which meant if he got in trouble again, he could be sent right back to prison to finish out that full 10 years. That suspended sentence officially started on July 2, 2008, and was set to end on July 1, 2018. But he was too deep in the streets. He started rapping with his brother Polo under a label called Mafia Lane Records. He began getting famous by hanging out with people like Dope Man and French Montana. Some even say that D-Loc was one of the people who sold cocaine to French Montana's group the Coke Boys and gave them protection when they were in Tulsa. He would also feature on the Hood Box Office, where he went around showing his illegal activities, like cooking crack and pimping, along with Dope Man.
Niggas know me, young Dope Man, so I cook the shit myself, along with my nigga D-Loc.
You know the business, you know my nigga. You know the business, nigga, cuz. You know who it is, nigga. Don't act like you don't know, my nigga. Plenty of you niggas know, cuz. Bitches and all, nigga. You know what it is, cuz it's Hoover on mine now, nigga. Let me get back to my business. Uh-oh. Hit that motherfucker.
Alrighty.
Hit that motherfucker. Take no flame, motherfucker.
Okay. Young Jeezy.
Ooh, look at that motherfucker there. That motherfucker there.
Young Jeezy.
It's some good.
Okay. So good Jeezy, another mark on that.
It's a 10.
That's a 10.
Okay.
She say Jeezy got a 10, my nigga. She say Jeezy got a 10, my nigga.
D-Loc was living wild and fearless, acting like nothing could stop him. After his beef with Snoop Dogg, he kept dissing the California Crips. He moved around like he was untouchable, but eventually they caught up with him.
Snyder officers were radio assigned to a possible shooting in the area of 1800 North Harvard. Upon arrival, they located 2 victims. We had one black male, approximate age is in his 20s, received a gunshot wound to the upper part of his body. He's listed in critical condition at a local hospital. We also had a black female in her early 20s that received a gunshot wound to one of her extremities. That wound is not expected to be life-threatening. She's also being treated at a local hospital. Apparently what happened was several individuals were out on the porch at this residence socializing when they were approached by one black male, unknown age, wearing all black clothing. And that individual produced a gun and started shooting, and at that point the individuals started scattering and 2 individuals were shot. And that individual, we don't have his information, but apparently we have reason to believe he may have been driving a dark-colored SUV, but we don't know the make or model of it.
No one knows for sure if Snoop Dogg had anything to do with it, but his name holds a lot of respect in California, and disrespect isn't taken lightly. Police would later arrest 21-year-old Shannon Smith in connection with the murder. They believed he was a local drug dealer who had beef with D-Loc. Smith was originally from East Texas. He was a good athlete who grew up in low-income housing in North Tulsa. He went to McLean High School and was studying aviation maintenance at Tulsa Tech. To help pay for school, he started selling drugs. Smith was never listed as a gang member, but he spent time around the Comanche Park apartments with his friend Freddie. Here, it's believed that a fight happened that led Smith to get into a dark-colored SUV. He then drove to North Harvard later that night. He then got out, ran up, and started shooting. The gun he used was described as a nickel-plated, semi-automatic pistol. He was charged with first-degree murder and intent to kill. Smith pleaded not guilty and was facing the rest of his life in prison. He told the court he didn't do it, but they didn't believe him. So Smith hired a private investigator to find the people who were responsible for the crime. His private investigator told him that Oklahoma detectives traveled to Los Angeles to interview Snoop Dogg. Believing that, he may have had a potential connection to D-Loc's murder, though he was never charged in the case. 7 years later, a man came forward and confessed to the murder. The man responsible was Arlen Young. Arlen Young was on his deathbed, dying from cancer. He knew that Smith had been wrongfully convicted and wanted to clear his conscience and Smith's name before he died. Arlen Young was a California Crip from Los Angeles and a member of the 111 neighborhood Crips. He and another Los Angeles Crip came down to Tulsa to confront D-Loc about the Snoop Dogg beef sometime during the concert. The 111 neighborhood Crips went into the Comanche Park apartments and started arguing with D-Loc and other Hoover members. D-Loc was outnumbered but still managed to take Arlen down, beating him to the ground and kicking him repeatedly, just like the scene from Menace to Society. The 111s left after the fight and were getting ready to take out D-Loc. They would watch his block and follow his every move. They wanted to wait to make sure he was feeling safe and caught off guard. That's when Arlen would run up and shoot D-Loc. After the shooting, he showed his cousin, who was from Tulsa, where he hid the gun. Since Arlen's confession, 4 people have come forward to back it up. The 2 cousins he confessed to, and 2 of Arlen's friends from his gang who were with him in the fight the night before the shooting. Law enforcement would also find out that Smith couldn't have been the shooter because he was in Claremore, which is 30 miles from Tulsa, when D-Loc was shot. Smith was spending time with family all weekend and didn't have access to a car. He later returned to Tulsa 34 hours after the shooting. Smith's girlfriend and brother said he was with them during the shooting, but the courts didn't believe them. Smith's DNA was also taken and proved not to be linked to the shooting. The only evidence against him came from unreliable witnesses who changed their stories. One of these witnesses was Carla Maisha Jefferson, a rumored police informant who had a personal grudge against Smith and some mental health problems. Another witness was a man named Brendan, who Jefferson was living with at the time. On the night of the shooting, neither Jefferson, who had been shot by Arlen but survived, nor Brendan said that Smith was the shooter. Instead, they changed their story later. Smith believes that he was wrongly convicted because of his connection to Freddie, who lived in the apartments and had a past fight with the group. Now that Smith is free, he has started a Christian fundraising website called Give Send Go, where he sells t-shirts and other merchandise to raise money. D-Loc's story is a wild one, and he will always be remembered in Tulsa as a legend. Even Oklahoma City shows him respect for everything he's done for the Hoovers. But the interview that started all this violence was taken out of context. His comments came around the time when Lil Wayne went to Compton and was pressed by local members of the Compton Crips.
The gangs is everywhere,
yeah,
especially like, you know, the Bloods is all over New York crazy. Yeah. What's Snoop Dogg feel when he sees all that?
You know what? At the same time, I'm proud, but at the same time, I'm disappointed because there's no understanding. You know, it's cool to be in a gang. It's cool because gang breeds love and family and friendship. See, people don't understand the positives of being in a gang. But if there's no understanding or explanation of why this gang was created, what's the origins of this gang, what are the rules and regulations, then it becomes a disappointment. And I feel like a lot of these guys watch TV and they see it, and then a couple of guys come from out of town and they brainwash them and they get them, and then they just gang banging for no reason. So it's like, when we was doing it, we was brought up in it. We understood the rules and regulations. We were there for the foundation of it. We knew why we were getting involved. We knew the consequences. These youngsters that's in it now don't understand the consequences. They don't realize that their life is on the line every 5 minutes. And then when you find a young rapper who takes on the gang bang mode, who ain't from California, and he goes to California, and there's some real niggas ride up on him from the other side.
Where you from?
Nigga, ain't no where you from, nigga, what you was claiming. We done already did our YouTube research on you and all that, nigga. You flagging that shit, nigga, and you ain't really a real one? So, me personally, I feel like if you banging outside of California, stay there. Because if you come back to California...
Say that again. Say that again. We're nationwide, Snoop. Say that again.
If you are banging outside of California, Bloods or Crips, you need to stay there. Because if you come back to California where it originated at, we have different sets of rules and regulations that don't apply to you niggas, and you will become victim of a circumstance. Ask some of these rappers who waving their flags around that ain't from California.
We've seen it. We're on YouTube.
Yeah, that they came, and them is my homies. And them niggas ain't the toughest niggas in the world.
Do you pull them guys aside and be like...
As you can see, Snoop Dogg was simply speaking the truth, not trying to diss anyone from out of state who claims affiliation with the Bloods or Crips. D-Loc, however, saw this as an opportunity to gain fame by tying his name to it, like many local rappers do when they post videos like Goons Band Rapper from State just to get featured on World Star Hip Hop. Over the past 10 years, this has led to fans online claiming that Snoop Dogg may have been involved in his death, but these claims have never been confirmed. Thank you for watching another episode of Hood 187. If you believe Snoop had something to do with the murder, comment below. And if you want to support the channel, join the membership and watch videos hours before release.